Hi viewers, this is Ashish from Chennai Times. Today we have here with us actress Digangana Suryavanshi. She's very familiar to all of us, from the film Dhanasu Raasi Neyargale. Welcome to this interview, Digangana. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad.
So, Digangana has recently come out with a very short video, talking about one of the issues that we all have been talking about recently, which is depression. So let's start with that. Digangana, what was the whole idea behind this video? Is it an artistic expression trying to create awareness about this issue, or did you do a lot of research and then decided to do this video?
I have always felt and acknowledged all these feelings. As a human being, I feel like it's very, very important to address these things. They are stereotyped as negative thoughts, and people aren't welcoming, and people are like, just some kind of madness, this is unhealthy and stuff like that. But as a person, I think this is one area which I feel this whole time has been a lot about. Lockdown, it's everywhere. Whether it's Chennai or Mumbai, it's everywhere. People are depressed. How you address it is something that's very important. I feel I'm a huge advocate for mental health. I feel like everything that's going in here is something that's going to decide for you. If you're happy, if you're feeling like you want to be doing something, or there's something that's kind of making you feel low, it's eventually going to reflect in everything that you do, whether that's your relationship, that's your physical health, that's your work, or that's anything else. And it's so funny that it's just taken for granted. People think that you generally have to go to a psychiatrist when you're probably mad. That's how it's conceived. And that's how people relate to madness. And they think that, only when people are actually, underprivileged or they're mentally sick, that's when they go to a doctor. I feel this whole time lockdown itself was pinning me back and back and back and back. I live with my family, of course, and I discuss almost everything with them. So this one day I was telling them, I was like, what about people who are probably living with their families, but they're kind of introvert, or they don't want to talk about their issues, or there's some kind of a communication thing that's going on? What do? Like so many negative thoughts that come out of it, and it's hard to see. If I'm physically hurt, if there's blood coming from my hand, you're going to see it and you're going to have empathy and sympathy, everything for me, right? But if there's something going on in here, I'm not too sure if you'll be able to see it. So this video was for everyone to acknowledge what they're feeling, not be guilty of it at all. And at the end of the day, understand that it's their body and mind, and they should take care of it. And this is absolutely self-help. Even when you decide that you need somebody's help is also self-help. Until and unless I don't tell you, you wouldn't know. So this came out of like so many thoughts, and I just wanted to do it in the right way, because it can be conceived and perceived really differently, which I didn't want. So there was a lot of thought that went into it, for sure.
Okay. So how did you spend your lockdown? I have also read that, you also write, you're also an author. Did you kind of spend a lot of time writing something, or like, did you spend time, reading books? If so, what kind of books did you read, and how did you spend your lockdown?
I've been painting, actually. I think that's just so refreshing. I think the last time that I painted was in school, and that to an 8th standard probably. So my papa bought a bunch of canvas, and he was really unsure of me painting, and he's like, you're gonna be a mess. I was like, I'm not gonna be a mess. I'm gonna prove it to you. He said, why don't you practice on a paper and then probably try it on a canvas? So we had like chit chat about it, and I said, no, I'm too cool. I'm gonna go straight on the canvas. Made quite a few paintings, and I have been writing. So I started writing, I'm actually writing a script. So it was almost like a thing that I wanted to complete. I'm like, this is going to give me a feeling of accomplishment, and I'm so looking forward to have it like bounded in my hands. and that's what took most of my time. But I'm glad, because that just puts my energy in the right use, I feel. Otherwise it's so frustrating. I can't step out of the house, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about films and how close you are to Chennai. I think during the shoot of Hippie, I think you spent a lot of time in Chennai, and then again you acted. You made your debut in Collywood with Dhanasu Raasi Neyargale. So let's talk a little bit about Chennai. Shooting in Chennai. How was the experience?
Lovely. Chennai has been good luck for me, to put it simple, because so Hippie, of course, is a Telugu film, my first South Indian film, but the producers, Dhanasu sir, is from Chennai, of course, and it was their first venture in Telugu. So the first time I did visit, down south for like work was Chennai. So I was like, and it was that one day and everything did go wrong. The entire team was from Chennai. So I was, most of the time, because Krishna sir, RD sir, Brinda master, in fact, everyone. So I thought that we have like a mini Chennai wherever we go. So I would hear them more, and the culture and everything. I just feel that there's some kind of good luck with Chennai, definitely. I have enjoyed shooting there. I've enjoyed the people there. I love South Indian food. So every time I'm there, I'm really sorted. Like some places you go and you really don't know what to eat. But I'm a huge dosas and idli fan. Like I've been eating that since I was a kid. Cool thing.
Great. Any places that you can recollect?
In Chennai?
Yes.
To name them in front them would be difficult. So I live mostly in Green Park, and we shoot everywhere around the city, so it's usually fun. But that's the area that I've spent most of my time in.
Okay. So tell us about working in Dhanasu Raasi Neyargale, working with Harish Kalyan and a very young team. How was it? And did you kind of get the output that you expected with your Tamil debut, or are you looking for more films? Tell us about your upcoming Tamil films. Have you signed anything? Yeah, let's start with your debut film, Dhanasu Raasi Neyargale.
Dhanasu Raasi Neyargale is something that happened really quick. So I remember that, generally the whole format of a film is that you do a meeting and then you probably do a look, or you chat about your role, and then there's this mutual conversation, how's it gonna go, as it fits and stuff like that. I heard Dhanasu Raasi Neyargale on a phone call, literally. I was in Hyderabad for something else, and they were already shooting, and they called me up and they said, this is the script, and you fit the part. And I had a few questions here and there, and the entire I signed it digitally. I got the contract on my email, and so I hadn't met anybody, honestly. But there was some kind of vibe. I did see Harish's previous film, Spade Raja. I'd seen that. So the moment I heard about this hero, I went up and I wanted to watch the film first. And it was, him, how he is, and how the entire team was, from what the kind of narration that I had, I enjoyed. Sometimes from what you hear to what it turns out to be, it's just another thing, right? But for me, the narration was very, very important. I was like, my role looks quirky, and not a lot of people write roles like these for women, especially in a commercial film and stuff. So I was interested. It was quick, and the interesting part is I didn't have the time to do my dialogues. That's something that I was really worried about. So whenever I go back to DRN, think about the former days, I'm thinking that I'm literally at the airport and they're telling me that we're shooting 2 days later. 1 day later, in fact, because I was there on a Saturday and we're shooting on a Monday. And I'm like I have dialogues, right? Why aren't you sending me the script? And then I got the script, huge lines. I remember the first minute I was just looking at it and I'm thinking, how is this going to happen? Because with Tamil, interestingly, what you write is not necessarily what you pronounce. There's a slight difference. I was like, send me voice memos. I need to sit with the assistant director and sort it out. So the first day, I was really kind of caught up in my head, because with Hippie and most of my other films, I at least have like 2 days in advance, and I know exactly what's happening. This was rush. But then I think that's what some films are, right? I enjoyed the process, no doubt.
Are you planning any new projects in Tamil?
I wish and I hope so. So before lockdown, we were in talks with a few. Right now, even if you really can't predict, because nothing's really moving anymore, and shooting, because there's no shoot that's happening, and anything can be concrete, like to a level that it does get announced and people get to know when we know when we'll be able to shoot. So I think that's where we're stuck now. But I definitely look forward to doing more Tamil films, and I feel there's still a vacuum of the fact that maybe I want to do more films where I feel I'd be able to justify that project a little bit more. So I still have that feeling that no, I think there's better. Like, let's just plan this a little more properly. And honestly, sometimes some films and some projects are about work. Like, it's plain simple about, okay, let's do this film. This is my timeline, is what it looks like. Even though I'm doing Hindi and Telugu films and stuff, there's this constant thing at the back of my head that, let's just start going on a set of a Tamil film. Like, that's a thing, and that comes from a place, I think that doesn't come from my mind, really, that comes from my heart. So I'm an instinct person, and now that I know that I feel it that way, I want to do more Tamil films. There's no getting away from that.
Great. So you have also spoken about Rajini and your, your admiration for Rajini, and you have spoken about, watching Kabali. So tell us a little bit about Rajinikanth.
Huge fan, big time. His story as a human being, his screen presence, the way that he walks and he carries himself, I don't know, for some reason it gives me goosebumps as an audience. And I'm not saying like the 22-year-old me sitting here in an interview with you and telling you this is how I feel, this is how I felt even 10 years ago. Like a kid sitting on the couch with popcorns in hands, telling Papa, why haven't we watched this film in the theater? And my father goes like, this is a dubbed film. And I'm like, what is this dubbed film? So it takes me back to all of that conversation, there's some kind of attraction, you call it aura, persona, anything, but there's something about him that, and I'm sure that a lot of people let me feel so, and that's why he is who he is.
So can you go back and remember the first film of him that you watched?
Wow, I saw one of his Hindi film actually. Him and Amitabh. I can't remember the name of the film, but I watched it really young. I'm gonna have to Google, but it was a Hindi film of his.
Okay.
And then the whole South Indian films and stuff, I'm like, oh, it's him! And that's exactly why I got confused. So I told my father, why didn't we skip this film? It's like such a good film. So my father was like, Beta, it's in another language, you'll not be able to understand. So I was like, no, but then it comes in Hindi here. So then he's like, no, it's dubbed.
Which film is that?
Wait, I want to tell you right away. Sometime I know the film. I'd seen Hum.
Okay.
So that's actually originally a 91 film. So obviously I was not born then. But I watched it on TV because my parents and everyone is like a huge fan of like 90s and 80s films.
Okay. Yeah. And, talking a little bit about Bigg Boss, why didn't you tell us about Salman, your interaction with him? And did you kind of, since you were there in Bigg Boss, did you kind of get a feel, during the lockdown that you were back in the house? Kind of feeling did you have?
Bigg Boss has been once in a life experience, you know. I don't think that I can have that again, or I'd like to have that again. Because, you know, it's just once, and it should not or can't happen anytime again. So I was 18, I turned 18 in the Bigg Boss house, you know. So my initial excitement with the show was that, what independence, I'm turning 18, amazing, things can't get better and stuff like that. I think that show kind of made me realize what my real opinions are, because sometimes we're so influenced with what other people are saying that original opinions kind of get lost. But there I didn't really have anybody, and I had to make the choices that I felt like were right and stuff like that. And it did go well with me. It was such a huge check on patience. But, you know, I think every Saturday was such a breathing thing, because Salman sir would come and I'd be like, this is amazing. Like, could you just stay for a couple of more hours? It's okay if it's virtual, but we're all kind of like frustrated seeing each other. You're such a relief. And he has been, he's been motivating. You know, he was the first person who told me that, you know, you should do films. And I was doing a lot of television then. And then that's where it took off from. So he is, you know, not a lot of people really think great things about other people or want them to do better things in life, but he's honest with his opinions, and he's been very supportive. So I'd always remember that. Like, that's great connect.
Yeah, did you get a kind of same feeling, you know, during this lockdown?
Worse. So, you know, there's something. Now, this is the first time that I have realized that Bigg Boss was a good place. I'll tell you why. Because somewhere in the back of my head, I knew that this was going to end. You know, like, I know that there will be a day in Jan that even if I lasted the longest, I'm going to be out of this place. Here in this situation, it just doesn't seem to end. I'm like, really? Like, someday I'm like, wasn't it like 15 days, and then a month, and then 2 months, and then 3 months, and we're in August now, so it's insane. I think it's more traumatic because this is real life. You know, I think there we were more, so I always thought that we were like, we didn't have the facilities that we deserved in the Bigg Boss house. I don't feel that anymore. I'm like, no, that house is good.
Thank you so much for joining us, you know, and sharing your experiences working in Tamil.
Thank you for having me.
Talking about Rajinikanth, talking about Salman, your experiences in Bigg Boss. Thank you so much once again, and we'll catch up soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Hope to see you in Chennai soon. Hopefully, when things open up with something better.
Thank you, Digangana. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.